Hey, Gloucester Township, I'm Joe Allen here with Keith Gibbons. This is the Restored GT podcast, the number one podcast.
The number one podcast in all of Gloucester Township.
There's probably no other ones, but, well, there's that one with the dude that they pay.
Oh, yeah.
Propaganda guy. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to cover a few topics. First topic being the November 28th council meeting. And
do a little recap.
Yeah, before we get into that, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed on the channel, and all of our social media links are available at restoredgt.com, as well as any documents we reference here. Yeah. So check that out. There is a post there for every podcast that we do with all the sources for any information.
Yep. And we're going to start trying to do some of these things live, but even if we're not live right now, we still will reply to comments and stuff like that. If you guys are listening and you have a comment about something that we said, leave it down below. We're going to reply to it, and in the future, you'll be able to hopefully interact with us live if you have the opportunity to view us live. But
yeah, kicking around the idea of doing live stream coming up probably for the next podcast. Hopefully,
yeah, it's working on a couple things here and there, but
a live stream. It's a lot of buttons to push. A lot of equipment,
a lot of production while you're on the air.
A lot of us for two guys to run.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're doing hair and makeup production.
Yeah, it's weird doing his makeup. It's weird.
It's just strange.
So November 28th was a council meeting, and first topic on the council meeting really that came up was the if you remember from the last meeting, we had $4 million that we have to take a loan, or a potential $4 million that we need to take a loan out on because of some unforeseen medical circumstances that have come up.
Right.
Our township, we are self-insured.
Yeah, self-insured meaning we have somebody process the claims for us, and then whatever claims actually come up, we have to pay the bills for, versus an insurance policy where it's a flat rate. No matter if you get sick, don't get sick, you still owe it. So it does save the town money, but in this particular year, we're a little bit over budget here and need to borrow some money.
A little bit.
Only $4 million.
$4 million.
That's
you can buy a person for that. You lose a loved one. You can just buy a new one for $4 million. But so currently we are we were last meeting we were $1.6 million short. They estimated we're probably about $2 million short right now, with about $900,000
outstanding.
Outstanding bills that haven't come in yet
that they're aware of. Yeah.
So probably about $2.9 million. So I guess one of the biggest questions, they're still pushing for the $4 million. One of the biggest questions a lot of us had was, well, for 2.9, by the end of the year, why not just borrow 2.9? Why not? Why borrow the $4 million? But
look, I don't know government accounting. I don't pretend to understand. There are probably things that make more sense to do it, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of money, and I guess everybody's just kind of irritated about the whole borrowing when we know there are other ways to pay for this, like not spending money on pickleball courts or using COVID money that we already have. So, we'll get into that as well. There's we have a clip coming up in a few minutes about that exact thing of being able to use the money. We were told at, I don't know how many meetings it was, we couldn't, what's the word that he always uses? Not functionally, mechanically, it's not possible.
Yeah, I think mechanically it's not possible to take the COVID money
and then include it into this year's budget, which it is as Pete Heinball had brought up. So we'll pay this clip here, and he's talking about a thing called Chapter 159. That's it's usually used for grants, but it can be used for other things.
Yep.
It was stated at the last regarding this $4 million borrowing that the township is unable to move that grant money into 2022 revenue. Did I understand that properly?
Mr. Gardis? So what you could do is overextend overexpend the appropriation, in which case that creates a deferred charge. That deferred charge goes into the following year's budget, and you could offset any revenue you have towards that appropriation. Problem with the deferred charge is, and we will end up probably getting a lower bond rate.
All during the course of the year, our town and every town adds revenue to the budget after it's been adopted during the course of the year under a statute, New Jersey statute. It's most commonly used to recognize grants.
That's a chapter 159. That chapter 159 is used for grant money. So
it doesn't say it has to be grant money. That's the most common use for it. But I think the way the chapter reads, it doesn't have to be just for that. It can be used for a purpose like this.
Used for anything else.
But can it be? Can it be? I think it can be.
I don't believe it can. I think.
Well, can we find that out? Can we find that out for sure? And can we table this borrowing until we find that out for sure?
I wouldn't recommend that.
Approved by the local finance agency. I'm not voting to delay this vote.
Not going to delay the vote.
Delay what?
I'm not going to delay the vote tonight. Okay? So if that's your question, the answer is no.
Mr. Heimball, thank you very much for your time. We have more time to come back on.
So,
Yeah.
So, yeah, 159 is, no, I wasn't familiar with 159, so I looked into 159, and it does say Chapter 159 resolutions are not limited to grant aid programs. So I don't know. There seems to be some confusion on it. It doesn't seem to be just tied to grants.
Right, but the clip that was played and the conversation back and forth there is like the definition of how every conversation with the council meeting goes, with somebody asking a question. The way that it's answered and the way that the back and forth goes is, like, I've never seen it used for anything like that. That's great if you've never seen it used. That does not mean it can't be used for that.
Yeah, pull it back
so
up and read
Pete
it.
goes and asks, can it be used for that? I wouldn't recommend that. Why? Because that's not what you wanted to do. Well, the people are asking you, can it be done? And then it's shut right down with, we're not going to vote. We're not going to stop the vote. I mean, that's like the definition of how everything in this town goes, and it is the most infuriating, frustrating, thing to sit there and watch over and over and over again of people just getting shut down, asking a question, and just being answered in a way that's makes you sound like you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up and sit down. That's basically how everything
Because you're
goes.
answering questions, and to be honest, they're not good with answering with
No, they don't want
anybody asking questions, because they themselves don't ask questions.
Yeah.
I mean, the next clip here that we're going to go into is basically that. It's
Talks about a separation of powers, right?
Well, yeah, they're voting on this, so they voted on this on the 28th, but nobody really has any detail on this 2.9 or $4 million. Nobody has any more detail on it.
Go in blind. Here's no information, Joe. What do you vote?
The mayor said we need 2.9 to cover. Nobody has any additional information, and council said
we did talk to the finance board or whatever.
Yeah, we talked to the finance board. They told us what they needed.
They told us we could borrow it and spread it out over 7 years. Great. I could go, fly a rocket ship to the moon.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's what they.
Check out.
So frustrating.
Check out Ray's question here on that.
Mr. Heimball asked a question, whereas you folks are voting on on that note. It's $4 million, and you act like it's a pocket change. And yet, Mr. Heimball asked if you guys saw anything in writing. And your answer to him was, well, the administration attended this conversation, and I'm okay with that. And I begin to call into question once again the separation of powers.
Right.
Is everything that they hand down to you just going to be a head nod, and you're going to be okay with whatever they send down? I mean, the separation of powers is where you ask the questions. You need to know the answers. I know too that may have some idea. I don't know that all 7 of you do, and you're getting ready to pass a $4 million more debt.
Yeah.
So think about this. there are 7 people up there. So the administration, Tom Cardis, they met with the mayor, the finance board. They discussed it. That's what they said they needed. The other people sitting up there.
No, that's not what they said they needed. That's what they said that they were able to borrow and how
Well,
long
yeah.
they would have to pay it back. And then to go this route to get that money that they needed. They didn't say that this is what you have to do. It's not like they said, yeah, you don't use your COVID money. This is what you actually have to do. So what they did was they okayed this process, not said that. So not, I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but my biggest point is this separation of powers thing is
Right.
it's basically so council wasn't in this meeting.
No.
So this is like I go up to anybody on the street and say, township needs to borrow $4 million. You cool with that?
Right.
And they would go, what for? I go, don't worry about it. It's a medical
We
thing.
had the meeting. It's cool.
So these 7 people are basically people on the street.
Yeah.
They should say, I need more detail on this. You're borrowing $4 million. That's $4 million out of the tax money that I pay.
Mm-hmm.
So these 7 people up here, they are you.
Nope, not a question, nothing.
That's the thing. Those 7 people on council are you.
That's your representation right there. 0 questions asked.
They're just going
They don't
on.
represent you.
Yes, we need it because Tom sits up here. We like Tom, whatever Tom says.
Yep.
And that's why we borrow money every year. Ridiculous amounts of money every year. And then we budget, over budget every year.
Yep.
So, because they blindly just trust and they just go on with that. So, yeah, that's...
But the unfortunate thing in government spending like that is when you over budget, they just go and waste the money because they have to spend it in order to be able to get it again the following year. So maybe they do need it for something, but now it's just wasteful spending just to spend the money because it has to balance out to 0. It's not like a company where you can just be like, oh yeah, we have this excess of money and just going to roll into next year and or profit sharing or whatever the case is. Government, and again, I don't pretend to know. I'm no expert at all in government finance here, but that's how the government works. So like I know people that work for government agencies, and they could tell you the waste that they have is astronomical because their boss just says, go spend it, just buy something, just whether it's software you're never going to use in a million years, a piece of equipment just to be able to spend the dollars so that next year on a piece of paper they can say we need X amount of dollars for our budget. Actually, we might need a little bit more. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. It's just it's a shame. It's not like a household like you and I, but the households are the ones that pay this money to fund these
bad
this
decisions.
government. Yeah.
So with all that looming and this $4 million going at that's going to go into the debt that we already owe from all the previous years that we've borrowed and if you haven't kept up, that's how we get past that whole 2% cap thing is because that loan money that we have to pay every year, that doesn't count as part of that. So if we just keep borrowing and borrowing, they can just keep adding to that loan, and then they get past that 2% cap. That's why you have 10% raises and not 2% raises. Like everybody thinks that we're capped at.
Yeah, we're not capped.
They figured the system out, and that's how they do it. But on top of that, so you would think, all right, we're $4 million in the hole here. We can't use COVID money because next year's an election year, and we don't raise taxes on election years because then people get mad and they don't reelect the people.
Well, the problem also it's not just the $4 million. That's just this particular conversation that we're having. Like how much? I think the question was actually asked at this council meeting. Like, what are we up to? Like, it's in the teens. I think we're at like 16 million that we've borrowed so far this year of random things like this that have popped up. Even if it's 11 million, it's a lot of money. The 4 million's a lot. We're talking about even more than that.
We keep putting ourselves further into the hole.
Yeah.
Eventually,
it's going to catch up.
When these people all go away and some honest people come in,
they're going to use this as a look how bad of a job they're doing because it's going to crumble at some point.
The next people that take office aren't going to stand a chance because we're buried in this debt now, and we just keep adding to it. And then on top of that, if you can't afford groceries, you don't go out and buy nice things.
Right.
And we're gonna go and we're getting ready to buy some nice things.
Oh yeah.
So we got we're gonna probably borrow $4 million for medical expenses, and then we're gonna get some pickleball courts.
Yeah.
So $500,000 for pickleball courts over in over off Hickstown Road, the big park on Hickstown Road. I think that's where it's going.
Yeah. And it's not. I mean, relatively speaking, $500,000 is a lot of money, but it's not. Relatively speaking, it's not a ton of money, but it eats away at that $4 million that we'd have to borrow or whatever it is. Again, you go to your household or whatever, and you don't, go out to go. Don't take that vacation that you saved up for because you need a new roof that's 15, 20 grand or whatever it is. So you don't buy, you don't spend the $4,000 or whatever it was to drive to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, you can eat into what you actually owe by not doing somewhat ridiculous things. And in this whole pickleball courts, conversation that's come up, there's been options that have been put out there, and they shouldn't even have been put out there. This should be something that our council, the people that represent us, should be looking at and doing. But there's never a conversation about any of these things. It's just thrown on the agenda. We have workshop meetings that get canceled, and there's not really a conversation around different topics like this. And it should be. We have workshop meetings for a reason, to go and discuss different things like that. We have a rec center, for instance. Like there's the rec center. I don't even know what's that road called, back behind where the new Wawa's going to go off of Black Oak Clementon Road. Is it Broadacres?
Oh, over in Cherrywood.
Yeah,
The rec center in Cherrywood.
Right.
Yeah.
I stopped in there just to check out and see what actually goes on, because I've heard of people going there and playing pickleball. So I went there and I talked. They have like 5 or 6 pickleball courts that they set up over there. There's schedules you can get on, go over there. But what I did learn that was interesting was a couple things. So one, we were told I think it was at this council meeting, that pickleball is so popular that we have to have these other courts because so many people are asking about it. But yet, at the rec center, if you ask, there's definitely room for you because they never sell out. We have plenty of extra room for for pickleball. So we need to spend $500,000 because so many people are asking for it that our pickleball dates don't sell out at the rec center. In addition, what I did find out is the pickleball is actually not run by Gloucester Township, but by a private entity. So there's a private entity running these pickleball leagues, games, whatever it is. Yet we need to create pickleball courts at taxpayer expense. I can only assume that whoever is running these pickleball
Somebody knows
courts, in the rec center, that we're just using the rec center for that. So I'm curious how that all, the finances and what the economics of that actually is. But I found it very interesting that, in this conversation of $500,000 pickleball courts at a time we're spending $4 million, isn't run by the township, but by an individual company.
I thought there were people waiting in the bushes just waiting to play
Yeah.
pickleball. And apparently
would think.
not. Ray Palladoro asked, too, in this clip here.
Makes me curtail what I was going to say. Mr. Hutchins, you made a comment about a lot of people are asking for this pickleball, so it seemed the prudent thing to do. A lot of people ask for their taxes to go down. A lot of people ask for you to fix their roads, and neither of those happen. So it's great that it's popular, and as Mr. D'Amico just indicated, you can.
Yeah, I said the same thing.
I guess I legitimately thought there was a big demand for pickleball courts.
Well, it is a popular thing, and I'm sure they would get used. That doesn't mean that we have to go do it. You know what I mean?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But then, here's another idea.
In regard to the pickleball court, I do. There are people that like these things, and they're very popular. But at a time when we don't need, everybody said that we're spending and we're borrowing. Let's convert some tennis courts. You can convert 2 tennis courts, and it's a matter of line striping and cinching down courts to a specific height. And we don't have to make any improvements to any parking lots. We see how they go, and if we need more in the future, then maybe revisit it. Or maybe we could apply for grants down the road where we can do these things. But Public Works could turn around and put line striping on these things, and we wouldn't be out of pocket nearly anything. So that I would say table this, or don't approve it. There's no reason to do it. We can work within what we have. There's tennis courts, right across from Valley Brook that are never used, and we could sample them, see how well it goes, see how much traffic are being used, and if there's something as a town that we feel that it's worth pursuing, let's do it then.
Joe, when it was first brought up to me, Paul Bakey from Broadmoor said, "Hey, come on over to these tennis courts in Broadmoor." And right before I was about to go over there, he said, "They're being used. They were doing. I think he said they were hockey overs or something like that, and a lot of people were using it." So I mean, I agree. I thought that was a good idea. I mean, I've never seen.
I mean, you can fit 8 of these things if done properly, and it's just a matter, you can put 8 of them onto 2 courts. They're 120 by 60, a normal tennis court, and you size it down. It took me 2 seconds to Google all the stuff. And it's a creative solution to, what shouldn't really be a financial problem. And it's something we, well within our means to do. At Community Park, I think there's like maybe 6 or 8 courts there. You convert 2 of them. We still have adequate, we have courts everywhere.
So Joe D'Amico figured it out while he was sitting there just watching the meeting.
Right.
That hey, we could turn these into 8 if we needed to.
Right.
But when we could get rid of the tennis courts that nobody uses, that Hutchinson replied back, "Well, they're used for hockey now."
Right. I was going to say, did you catch that? He said we couldn't
hockey.
go to play tennis because they were using it for hockey. Don't we have hockey rinks? Don't we have like world class? Like they've been touting these hockey things. So we can't convert the tennis courts to pickleball because hockey players were using the tennis courts to play hockey.
Yeah.
You can't make this up. It's insane.
There's an outdoor hockey, and then there's an indoor hockey, and that's the 2 that I know of. There may be more than that, but
Oh my god,
yeah,
I can't.
There's tennis courts over here in Ariel.
There's tennis
I've
courts,
never
like you
seen
said,
anybody-
they're all over.
They're all over. They're all over the township. Nobody's there using them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, many towns are doing that exact thing, taking pickleball, and putting pickleball courts on unused tennis courts. It's whatever.
it's not a bad idea.
No, it's not.
Tennis. I don't. Tennis is popular somewhere, but probably not enough to where we need it throughout the entire township. Yeah. I mean, if I can't drive 3 minutes to a tennis court, then likely I might have to drive 10 minutes to a tennis court.
Yeah,
and it's still here, and then I don't know. And then I was surprised to find out that we already have pickleball courts here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just wanted to bring it up. Pickleball sounds more like my speed.
It's basically tennis. You can just stand in place and
tennis for fat guys. I will. I'm into that. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably have to go gear up. I guess I don't have pickleball gear.
Well, that was the thing is that this private company that does the pickleball things, like I asked that, I think it's $1 to rent, the equipment to go play pickleball.
If you wear
do
special
it at the
pants
rec
or anything.
center. I didn't ask about pants. I hope they don't share pants, but
we'll rent some pants or something like that. Some pickleball pants and little hats with the.
There might be a section at Dick's Sporting Goods for pickleball pants and shirts, and who knows?
It's probably it's going to be a trend soon.
Yeah.
So,
I want a disc golf course. Do we have a disc golf course?
No, Winslow does.
Not Gloucester Township, but I want that. So we should make a list, since all you have to do apparently in Gloucester Township is ask, because somebody asked about having a BMX park. Boom, right on the budget.
Yep.
$600 and something thousand. Okay, we're gonna have it. Somebody asked about pickleball. Boom, make it $500,000 right in there.
Yeah, somebody.
I want
at
a
one
disc
point,
golf course.
Apparently, a big donor before had asked about nice turf. $4 million. $4 million in turf.
Hockey rinks. We need hockey rinks.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a list, man, because I
Yep.
I want.
Folks, comment down below what you want.
Yeah, I want to.
What crazy thing? It doesn't matter how outlandish it is. We'll buy it.
I want a racetrack.
Yeah, a racetrack. We should put it in.
Drag strip, road course, whatever.
ACO might go away. You never know. We need a drag strip.
Hey, motocross
Let's
too.
convert Blackwood Clementon Road to one. It's got a little bit of hills though to it.
They fixed it, I think.
What's
that? I think they fixed it. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it
so
is. Yeah, just don't, as you're going straight, make sure you pay attention to the road because you have to shift over a few lanes like each
They
way.
still do the shift?
Oh man, they took a 3-lane road and made it into 2. So at the Royal Farms intersection right there where Chipotle is, your car, if you just continue going straight, your car would literally be in between 2 lanes.
Oh.
Within like a I don't know, 10 yards, going through a light, however long that is. You have to like just keep going straight. It's all engineering, it's it's from measure from here to there in the center of the road. But it doesn't actually work out.
It's probably a body shop right there that somebody in the administration knows that's going to just take all the cars up. But so E-gov is a way that if you have questions and you don't want to go there and get
berated or
humiliated in front of people, you just ask. You can go to the E-gov section in the municipal clerk area on Gloucester Township's website.
Yeah, glowtwip.com, and you find the E-gov.
You can submit some questions in, and
your questions will get answered by the administration and read by the council president, or just answered by the council president. But it's just another way for residents to be able to ask their government and see what's going on.
Yeah, so
it could be a statement, it could be a question.
A little bit of controversy here, I guess, or it was a topic. So we'll play this clip and then we'll talk about what's going on in the clip here.
Next is our GTE-gov access emails. Bear with me. We have about 5 of them this evening.
Council President, what time did we get these? Because I didn't get a chance to look at anything.
109, 1209, 1242, 445.
4:45 today.
Yes.
From
I'm sorry, 234. I'm sorry.
234.
Are any of the individuals who posed those emails, are they in the audience today?
One is.
Okay, well, I would suggest, Council President,
2.
if somebody's in the audience
Mr. Heinball's here as well.
if they're in the audience today, let them come up to the microphone and ask the question. Because if they're gonna send it today, I mean, how meaningful a response can we give?
I'll note that and take that into consideration, Mr. Hutchinson. I think going forward, when these E-gov access emails come in, most of them come in a little bit later towards the afternoon. It doesn't give the administration or myself opportunity to research these topics. So that's something that for the new year, going forward, most likely the reorganization will discuss that and have something in place that'll give us more time to answer these questions. But I'll take that into consideration.
Okay, let's dissect that.
So, if you send the request in at 2:35 or 4:45 or whenever it came in, Dan doesn't have enough time to formulate an answer.
Right.
But if you show up and answer it on the spot, he's
all
got
good.
it.
Yeah,
he's all good.
makes perfect sense, right?
It doesn't.
It does.
But
Joe, come on, it does. If they're there, they need to waste their time asking that question.
he can look you in the eyes
Yeah,
and know the answer.
but you can't
But
research
in an
it.
email, not so good. Not very good at that at all. So, one of the
And
things.
that, not to cut you off here, but there's different things that happen that you question. Was that staged? Was that we've had things with Mignon be like, oh, I'd like to strike this thing here, and somehow Carlemere knew exactly what portion he wanted to take out. Like this here, if you listen to that again, if you guys go back and rewind this and play it, Orlando didn't even say 445 before Dan repeated 445. Like he couldn't wait to get his next line out.
Oh my God!
It's like, wait, hold on. You know what I mean? If we were doing acting class, you'd have to take over, Dan. That was a little bit too playing, yeah. But anyway, it was
So, yeah, one of the things that was just mentioned there, and E-gov's been a topic before because a lot of times in the before the public portion, there's things that are voted on, and then people have questions about those things, and they send in E-gov questions. And the problem with the timing on how they do E-gov right now is they vote on the stuff that's on the agenda, and then after that's done, they read E-gov. So if somebody sends in a long E-gov, and it's got a lot of detail in there, and it may, if we had a good council that actually thought about things and asked questions, it may spark some concern with council, and they'd go, well, wait, this vote coming up, I might not vote yes on it now because of the E-gov.
right.
But that's not the way it works here, because E-govs come in after the votes are already done.
Right.
And it's been asked over and over again, can we change that? And every time they say, no.
No,
And every
it's
January,
impossible to change it.
Every January, the reorganization where they can change that kind of thing.
They can change that at any point in time, because they're going to. They could, if they wanted to, they would change it right now if it was going against something that was, stopping us from being able to do something that they didn't like. Just like when they took the workshop meetings and said, "Oh, you know what? The way that it worked before was, the public got to speak before all the, the things, and we got up there and." I don't want to say filibuster, but ask legitimate questions of all this stuff. They didn't like that. We were able to do that. So then, boom, time limit to it. Instantly, next thing out.
Yep.
So they could instantly go and change and say, you're absolutely right. That's a great point. We should bring these topics up that people have the opportunity to do their E-gov thing that is impactful to a vote that's coming up. We should change the timing. But no, we're told, no, we can't have it done. But again, if it went the other way, somehow it's able to be done.
Yeah, so Ray Palladoro, he with all this said, he got up and had some things to say. So this is it's about 2 minutes long. So bear with us here.
That time clock means so damn much to you that you'll leave people's hands standing in the air. And in a good and effective government, you want to hear the people. Some nights it'll go on long, but you don't know that. I was going to call you Mercado, Mr. Hutchison. Sending an email in, an E-gov letter, is another way that someone can send in the questions that they have. Because Mr. Mercado and Mr. Cardis have both asked for that information to be sent on detailed questions that would allow them the time to research for an adequate answer and to bring that answer to the council meeting. By insinuating that a person's E-gov question not be read because they're in audience, I would ask you to refer to the time clock that means more than hearing the people.
Yep.
If you're anti-transparency and you're anti-public input, just say it. I've known you and I know you. That was horrible.
Ray, I want to address that, and I obviously am going to take some of your time, but an email or an E-gov question sent at 4:00 the day of this meeting. Come on, how can anybody give a real meaningful response to that?
Well, let's take a look at the schedule. Gloucester Township closed on Friday. Thursday, the agenda goes out, okay? There's not a lot of action. You have from the close of business at 5:45 on Thursday, and then you've got the weekend to read it, and then compile your thoughts as well. But, this township doesn't do business on Friday. It doesn't count as a day. So let's take an honest look at that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so pause that there.
It must be submitted prior to 7 p.m. the day of the council meeting.
Yeah, so on Gloucester Township, go on glowtwip.com right now and go to find the E-gov section, and look what it says right on there as far as the time. We're not making this up. It says 7 o'clock is the time that you have to have it in by. The council meeting starts at 7:30. And to Dan's question of that, you have to have it in so that they have time to research it. How the hell is, like, we said earlier, is that how is asking the question at the meeting instead of sending in the E-gov give you any more time? It's just a cop out of, you don't want people to have multiple ways to ask questions, because it's the people that are getting up there and challenging the government, asking their government through an E-gov thing, which is one form of a way that they can do it, through the public meeting in the beginning portion, which is for agenda items only, or in the public portion during that. Those are the options that they have to do it. It's that we have how many 70,000 people in this township here, right?
60 over 60,000. Yeah.
Okay. Say a bulk of them came. We're limiting people's speech basically by stopping and having only 5 people being able to go up there and speak. 5 people out of 65,000 people. If one person wants to ask 10 questions instead of 1 because other people didn't show up, they should have that right. I don't understand why it's. I mean, that's absolutely insane. It's
30 minutes for the entire township. So E-gov is the way. It's the way to do it. E-gov isn't. So the E-gov is nice for them because you can submit a question ahead of time. They can possibly have the answer when the meeting goes on. But it's also just if you can't make the meeting, you can ask the question. So you can email them at 6:30 if you find out, hey, I can't make the meeting, but I got this dire question that I got. You can blast it in at 6:30,
right? And
it should be read.
Yeah,
and if they
exactly.
have to say, we've got your email, we'll get back to you on it. That's fine.
But even that, it's a perfect example there. Denise Coyne now has asked 4 times about the redevelopment plan that we paid for the villages of Gloucester. 4 times. And every time Orlando gets to the thing, he says, yeah, we'll get back to you on that. When? When are you getting back to her on that? How many times? Would she get an answer if she asked that question in person? Is that what Dan's saying? She would get an answer? Because if you don't know it and you had that question for weeks now, what? It's insane. But like you said, things pop up, and you may have had every intention of going to the meeting. You wanted to ask this question at the last minute. You go and send it in there. You send it in. Now, tides changed again, and you're like, actually, I'm able to make the meeting, so I show up. But I don't want to take up other people's time. My question was already asked up there. So now, because you got in line ahead of time, your question's not going to be asked unless you get up and go ask it and take away someone else's time. It's just, I mean, it's
good too,
any which way to stifle our asking of any questions of our government. It's I'm getting fired up over it because it's a really
it's another
BS.
Great. It's also a really great way too because it's super efficient to put a question in because you put the question in and they answer it. There's no back and forth.
Right.
So they could read that question in a minute and then give a 30-second response, move on to the next question.
Move on to the next one, yeah.
There's no back and forth.
Yeah.
So it's a really efficient way to ask questions. But
oh man.
Yeah, there's
got me fired up.
Yeah, so in January I suspect that it's probably going to change. We'll probably see E-govs.
Yeah, there's going to be some kind of a limit or a rule that goes into effect.
2:00 now on Monday. I don't know that the agenda is. I've looked for the agenda before on days when it's supposed to be there, and I have not found it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a cache issue with your computer or something, or with their computer, or what. But people do have it ahead of time. I don't really usually go check for it until later on, but there is a time that they're supposed to have it posted by. I know weekends don't count. They're supposed to have it up for 48 hours. So I don't know, does Friday count as an actual day? Because the township's closed on Fridays. So does that actually count? If Friday is just Friday and Saturday as far as the statute or whatever it is says? Who knows? But
I don't know. Yeah.
Either way, it's just ridiculous that so the public has has the ability to go and instantly look at it, have a question and send it in so that they have time to go and answer it. But it's whatever. It's BS.
Yeah, well, if you aren't mad enough, this
wait till
you check out this clip, because this upset me. It angered me.
Yeah.
A lot of things, and this isn't the first time that I've heard this same story.
Yeah, this story is over and over again.
I ask that each speaker please adhere to your 5-minute time limit. The clock is right there to my left.
Now, he knows she has an issue with this.
Well, miss, we have each speaker is entitled to 5 minutes. You can start off with 5, and we have time to come back. You can come back for additional 5.
Okay, well, in 2020.
Can I have your name and address, please?
My name is Shirley Bodine. I'm at 48 Fairmount Avenue in Erie, New Jersey. I've been there almost 44 years. My major problem is the incompetence of this tax office here, the tax assessor. Okay, back in 2020, I had a major problem with miscommunication with amounts that the taxes were supposed to be paid. I was penalized because of someone else's negligence. We went round and round. Sandy, this person named Sandy, ignorant and very disrespectful person, plus 2 clerks at the window, both called me to my face that I was a liar. Nobody told me any and confirmed any amounts that those checks. I had to get 2 cashier's checks that time. Now this year, bright idea. In August, I'm going to pay August taxes and I'm going to pay November's taxes. I was given the amount of what the check, the cashier's check? I forget what it was. Whatever it was. All right, I made out that amount for it. And it was paid. No, it was a check. I'm sorry. I'm upset. I am so upset over this whole ordeal. Nobody can even imagine. It is important. I'll be almost 78 years old in 2 weeks that I can't handle this. Today I get another notice that I've got almost $100 more due. I just paid this Sandy over the phone. She called me a liar. Okay, I get another bill for $38.19, and she said, "Oh well, I'll just deduct the interest on it." I paid that. I got a cashier's check and paid it last week. I'm sorry, well, past Wednesday, before Thanksgiving. Now today, I get this in the mail right before I came over here. Tell me they're gonna put my house up for sale. I have the copy of the check that was for August and November's taxes. What are they doing? And why are they doing this? They're being spiteful and ignorant and disrespectful, and they're nitwits. Why? I have to check it here. May I push the table? I can give you the copy of the check, canceled check, my check here.
Miss Shirley, is it possible that at the conclusion of this meeting, you can sit down with myself and Mr. Cardis, who's the business administrator, and we'll take a look at everything that's in your folder.
This has
Because
to
we're not going to
stop.
resolve this in 5 minutes or 10 minutes, okay? Is it possible? Can you wait around till after the
I
meeting?
hope I'm still alive by then. This is just too much.
I hope I'm still alive by then.
How many other people have lost their homes because of someone's negligence?
But if we could sit down and take a look at it.
Yeah, that story has been heard so many times about Sandy in the tax office. I don't know who Sandy is in the tax office, but oh my God, does she have people pissed off sometimes?
Man, if
Same Joe or what?
huh?
Same?
I'm
You've heard
just-
the same story?
I don't know. I was pissed. I was pissed sitting in the audience watching, and then I was pissed when I watched it again.
Yep.
I'm pissed now, man. If that
Right.
was my mom, you know,
Yeah.
everybody in that office would know who I was, because they'd be hell to pay, man.
Yeah. The woman's been here 44 years, 78
She's paying her
years old.
taxes.
She's paid her taxes up ahead, and she's getting letters that her house is going up for sale
Yeah.
for $38 that they say that she owes. That she apparently doesn't owe, according to her. I mean, I know they got to go through her paperwork and whatnot, but
Yeah, and
It's-
if you've sat through these meetings long enough over the years, this isn't the first time that this has happened.
No.
And I don't know who Sandy is, and I don't know why Sandy's so mean. But it comes down to
everyone.
everyone in the damn office is so mean.
Yeah.
I had to, and I don't know if I told the story on here before or not, but we had to get a marriage license this year. So we had to go to the township, and my wife went, and she said, everybody in that office is miserable. They're all miserable.
Well,
And
Joe,
then-
they work 4 days a week.
We had to go,
come
and
on.
right, and then we had to go in together, and it was just like everybody there. It's like when they got to deal with you, they don't like it.
No.
And then when so we got married over Pergalia's over in Winslow, so we had to pick up everything over there when it was all done.
Mm-hmm.
And Winslow Township, the nicest office. Everybody in the office is super nice. It's so night and day from here.
It is.
And their taxes are a lot lower over there too. It's like, I mean,
it's a shame to say, because this is our home, our community, where we planted our flag and whatnot. But you go into an office like that, and that's, like you said, like the attitude that you get over everything. It's you're bothering them. Oh, you're being called a liar. The 78-year-old woman is being called a liar over things. Every one of us has a story like this where you've dealt with it. You go to the council meetings, you get berated by the council president or Mr. Hutchison, which I don't know why he gets to just speak out at any point in time, and no one else up there is allowed to go do anything. He's allowed at any point in time to just invoke whatever it is that he has to say, but. Everything. It's even like we've talked about going to other towns or watching other towns council meetings. I was going to pull a clip of a consent agenda, like, because there was, after that meeting, somebody said, did they even vote on the consent agenda? I didn't even see it. The way that they work, it literally, I think the clip was like 23 seconds it took from to say yes, I'd like to make that motion. I second it. On the roll call of who voted in 23 seconds. That is how a consent agenda could spend millions and millions of dollars, like that. But if you go to other towns, like I was saying about in another town that I had to stop and do something there, every item that was in that consent agenda was gone over, spoken about, like explained, what it is. Ours is just like, if you didn't see it on the agenda that we posted, in 48 hours, which is questionable sometimes, and people call them out for it, on that. But if you didn't, read it in there and have questions or ask your question or were one of the 5 people that were allowed to ask a 3-minute question during the beginning portion of the meeting, you're SOL, and millions of dollars going to be spent like that. It's just like every attitude little piece of the thing is just the people don't matter. People don't matter in this town. It really is. That's the way it is, Joe. We've done this. I'm really fired up today.
I've not had a good experience dealing with just about anybody.
Right.
Over there. I've had two times, 2 different cars I've had wrecked here in Gloucester Township where people have run into them. Not even my fault, but I have to go and pick up accident reports.
Right.
And I have to remind them when I'm downstairs, I'm not a criminal, man. I'm just here to get an accident report. I know you deal with crappy people all day, but
even the police are...
I'm just a guy who lives here that I just want... who's awesome? The firefighters here are awesome.
Yeah.
They've been to, they've showed up at like accident scenes. Those guys are always awesome. You go there, you talk to them. Even when you're there voting, those guys are great. That's the best part of anybody they're not even getting paid, most of them.
No, they're
just volunteers. And they're super nice. Maybe we just have to stop paying everybody in the township because that makes them really nice.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's a whole... it's a topic that's really frustrating. Like we've done that topic before about the organization charts and who's in charge here, and the people are not in charge. It's right on our organization chart. We're not even on there. We are a bother to these people. It's insane, and I don't know how people don't get more pissed off and get more involved, because it's nuts.
No, it's it's common, and it can change. It can change. It can change really quick. And
what I saw
next
today?
Next year we can split that council and we can take 4 of those seats away, and make a change.
Yeah. There is an election coming up next year. If you have any interest in running, reach out. We'll all help you along the way here. I believe you're planning on running, right? For next year for council?
No.
You're not?
No.
He's like, I'm putting my house up for sale.
No.
I am hightailing it out of here. That's the only way.
No, yeah. I am really interested in helping some folks who want to step up and become part of the organization, or part of the community here.
Yeah.
That makes the change. I want to be that bridge. I've done it before. I mean, it's a process when you run. So yeah. I've done it before, And I want to help people that want to do it. I want to help them get the information they need to be able to move forward with it and help them out with the experiences that I've had. And that goes for, we do a lot now with the Gloucester Township Republican Club, which was basically, it's a social club that was created this year.
Yeah, literally, the opposition party, the Republicans, to the current administration, didn't exist. There literally wasn't an opposition party.
No, I mentioned before, like I was surprised when I finally got to meet them because I ran against them last year, and I got to meet them, and I wanted to see what was behind the curtain, and it wasn't. It was it was just a couple guys, and they were just
There's no big surprise there.
But they want to help out. They want to help out finding people, and they want to get people to run, and they want to help those people run, and at the same time, you've got two choices next year. You've got a general election in November, and then you've got the primary. So you can primary if you're a Democrat and you don't want to change, and you're always going to be a Democrat. You always want to vote Democrat. You can primary.
That's fine. Run against them.
Yeah.
A primary is saying who's going to be on the ballot for when it's the actual election time comes. So if you're, like you said, if you're a Democrat and you don't want to run against either as an independent or a Republican, run as a Democrat. You can primary them. We'll help you along. We will.
Yeah. Go to Restore GT. Reach out to us that way. Joe@restoregt.com. If you want to run a primary, I can put you in touch with people that are better at that. And this is not Democrats versus Republicans. This is the people versus the machine.
That's what it is. The people versus the machine. Exactly right.
So if the people want to go up against the machine in the primary, people should go up against the machine in the primary. And then in the general, there's going to be a team that's going to go up against them in the general. So
yep,
it's up to you. I mean, if you watched all this and you thought it was funny and you didn't care, then look,
yeah.
But if you were pissed and you've been pissed for years, now's your chance.
Yeah,
if you if you don't want to do it, but you know somebody that's really good, talk to them. Talk to them and tell them to talk to us. And some people have reached out and they want to run, so we've got people now that want to run. But man, I really want a lot of people. I really want a lot of choices. That way, when whether it's like February, March, April, whenever it is that those candidates that are going to run in the general come out, or even the ones who want to run the primary want to come out, I want it to be great candidates. And that's
getting tired.
And if there's not great candidates, I'll do it too. I'll do it again. I don't want to do it again. But
no, I hear you. But it's we're convicted enough to say somebody needs to stand up and do something. We'll help along. We've tried, in the past, different efforts. I ended up actually getting elected,
and we won. We won.
Yeah, I actually did it. I somehow broke through the machine and got and got elected. But that's what we need to do all over the place, and that's what Joe's saying is there's no
and
offense. There's better candidates than Joe out there. No
there
offense.
are.
You're out there somewhere. We just don't know who you are. We just need to meet you and help you along and tell you what we've learned over time. We're not experts at this at all. I don't know anything more than than other people. I have opinions about about things that what worked, what didn't work, why you're running and whatnot. But that's what we can all discuss.
It's not just your victory too. Like this has been going on for years now. This chipping away at the machine. The school board now is in the hands of the people. The machine candidates are mostly gone. There's a few of them left, but the majority now is in the hands of the people. Yeah. And if we keep moving with that, 4 council seats in 2023, we get those 4, and then the only thing that's left in 2 more years after that is 3 seats in the mayor, and then we got the entire town back. We can get the town back with 4 seats on council next year. So I did not mean to go into that whole rant. What I want to tell you to do, I wanted to tell you to hit the like button if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Subscribe. Hit us at restoregt.com. And that's your summary right there that's your long summary for the November 28th council meeting. There is another council meeting on.
I think it's Monday.
Is on Monday. I don't know what the date is on Monday. Monday the 12th is your next council meeting. 7:30 at the municipal building. Pretty sure we'll be there.
Yep.
I'll
I
be
think
there.
there's a school board meeting too, so I might be late to it or not go. But either way,
Double
there's
header.
something. Yeah, there's stuff coming up in town too to go see. This weekend we have what's the name of it? The tree lighting.
Christmas. Well, they're going to call it the Christmas Village.
Okay, yeah, the Christmas Village
Is Sunday, September 10th at 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Veterans Park. Veterans Park, if you're not familiar, is on Shoes Landing Road next to the police station.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 to 9 at I believe it's at. I thought I wrote it down. I think there's a tree lighting at 6.
I don't remember. Go on their
I
website.
think.
Glowtwip.com has the information. Go on
Yeah,
there.
I'll put the brochure to. I'll put the newsletter on Restore GT right under today's post.
But yeah,
So,
they have all kinds of stuff: jewelry, food trucks, and
Open air holiday market
carousels.
with Christmas decor, gifts, Christmas trees, jewelry, and food trucks. For entertainment, there's going to be music, a carousel, and dizzy dragon rides. I don't know what a dizzy dragon ride is. I don't.
I'm pretty sure that's that guy that has. I think he goes like the Pumpkin Festival and the Gloucester Township Day. It's like that dragon mini like.
It's not like drunken bumper cars.
No,
that'd
it's
be
like
pretty
for
cool.
like little tiny kids.
Okay. No,
It's like a
all right.
little roller coaster ride for kids kind of thing, I believe.
And Santa will be there.
Santa's coming?
Santa's going to be
I
there.
know
He's-
him.
He's going to be there for photos. And speaking of Santa,
Well, the fire department does Santa, right?
the fire department does do Santa. And every year on Facebook, 93 different people ask,
When's
Santa coming around? So
Let's put it up
it's
there
on the
for
website.
people.
So Santa will be here starting on what, the 10th.
Yeah,
Lamb's
Lamb's
Terrace
Terrace.
is gonna run around to their spot. I guess you all know where your fire department is, and that's when they're gonna come around. So keep an eye out. My dogs love it. They go crazy. They sit at the door and
Oh, yeah.
they get all excited. They hear every
Well,
time they
you
hear
live
fire
in a
engines
cul-de-sac here, right? So does Santa actually come down the cul-de-sac and turn around?
He does.
Does he?
They go down. So you wave to him. They throw stuff, and then he turns around, and then it's like, there he is again. So
Whoa! I just saw him twice.
it's we get the bonus because we're on
Yeah.
a cul-de-sac, so we get him twice.
Nice.
And I think
That's pretty much it. We
Is that
have there is something else that's going on Saturday morning, which we didn't announce because you had that RSVP before you'll ever hear this, but I don't know. It's called the Dot organization, something like that. They put out this strange flyer. That's going to be the mayor, maybe, but maybe just people from his office will be there. And they said it's one of the most important meetings of the year. Calling all school board members, council members, elected officials, like all these random bubble. I don't know. It's a weird. Either way, I RSVP'd. I'm gonna go and see
you
what
are
it's
gonna
all
go.
about. Yep.
oh, okay. You
A few other people I know.
should bring some cameras.
I
morning.
thought of that, and it's probably because it's because it's a private it's an organization, like a nonprofit
Okay.
that's doing it. They could potentially not allow you to record in there,
No.
But maybe you're right. Maybe we should try it out and see what they say.
Now we
Get
could,
some good finish on the spot here, coming to you live from
we could watch
the Dot organization thing.
We could watch the mayor duck questions like he always does at
Yeah.
these big events, where he
Just
swoops
simply
in,
just
gets in front of the
slide
microphone,
off
takes a few
screen.
pictures, and then quickly rushes off to a car somewhere before anybody can ask him any kind of questions.
Yeah.
So he's everybody's favorite little elf this time of year.
Yep.
He will probably make a little appearance and take off in the sleigh.
Yeah.
So that is that's it. Anything else? Anything else going on?
I think we should just wrap it up at this point here. I don't have anything else to add. We'll have another one coming out shortly with the council meeting, and
20
all
seconds away
coming
from
up.
an hour, so perfect timing.
Yep. Well,
All right, folks, on the 12th, come out and hang out. You know, something crazy always happens. And,
It's comical sometimes. I mean,
somebody might
you
read
have to
off
see
all
it.
50 states again. So, or maybe this time they'll go with the state capitals. You never know.
Yep.
You'll probably learn something. Worst case, if you want to forget it all, you can go to Skeeter's afterwards and yeah, hang out at Skeeter's and we can talk about the mess that we just witnessed.
Yeah.
So.
All right, folks.
All right, folks. We will see you. We'll see you to recap the next one, and if we get everything together here, it'll be live, so you probably all can, taunt us while we're here.
We gotta get a sign-off line like "Stay classy," some kind of a
Stay angry, Gloucester Township.
Stay angry, yeah. From the number one podcast, Stay Angry.
We will talk to you soon. Hit us up on restoredt.com. Find out, and if you haven't already, subscribe.
Take care,
See you,
guys.
folks. See you.